I've been secret hunting, I've been looking at guides. It is time for Ultra Deluxe secrets. Specifically, I'm going to talk about secrets you can find without breaking the game, so no low poly rat, I'm sorry. Also, I only have the Switch version, so while I know of at least one console-specific Easter egg, if there are others, I haven't heard of them. I also won't be detailing any of the original secrets from the original Stanley Parable, so if you want to see that, check out my original video. Guides consulted in the description, spoilers abound, let's go. First, are there any notable differences between Ultra Deluxe and the original game beyond the new content? Why yes, rhetorical person, there is. The games and the game design ending have been changed, now it's Firewatch and Rocket League instead of Minecraft and Portal. Some secrets are also gone, the Employee of the Month for example. The hidden-ish portal room and the confusion ending is gone as well. Looking back, I'm not actually sure it was intentional though. All the secrets requiring a keyboard are gone, so face punch, secret credits, and Vin. And most of the console secrets are gone. No console after all. That being said, if you get the blue office spawn and get the whiteboard ending, you can still enable dog mode, so that's something. Almost every ending has a bucket variant, including the secret endings. Now, getting those secret endings is done the same way as the original, so you can use my other video to get any secret endings you missed. But I would be remiss if I didn't mention the broom closet ending, which ends with the bucket getting some fancy stickers. And now for the endings, completely exclusive to Ultra Deluxe. In the original game, there was a glitch where you could walk into the void in the mind control room. Now it's intentional game design.
Aha! You've made it to the bottom of the mind control facility. Welcome! You see, back when the Stanley Parable first launched in 2013, getting to the bottom of the mind control facility was a bug that we simply didn't catch during development. Anyway, when it came time to update the game, we knew that we had to do something about this little goof of ours, so here you go. New content. You can call it the bottom of the mind control room ending, if that enhances your perception of the value of these updates. Isn't that what you crave? New content? Always more content, more, more. And I'm here to give it to you. I'm here to make it seem like we really covered every nook and cranny of the game, with secrets and Easter eggs. How about this? We wrote a new piece of music just for this section. You won't hear it anywhere else in the game. It's a secret that's just for you. That's how special you are. We call this track, Good Job You've Made It to the Bottom of the Mind Control Facility. Well done.
Good job, you did it. Good job. 3, 2, 1. Good job, you made it to the bottom of the mind control facility. You jumped on the catwalk. You should have been careful. You should have been careful. It used to be a bug, but now it's an ending. Now it's an ending. I believe in you. I believe in your ability to cross this barrier and chase your dreams. Railings don't mean anything. Good job, you did it. 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 Good job, you did it.
And now with the bucket.
But just as Stanley was about to proceed further into the mind control facility, he tripped and fell over the railing and into the dark void below. Thankfully, he fell directly onto the bucket, which safely cushioned his fall. Now, what to do next, Stanley wondered. Stanley and the bucket could find no way out of this enormous pit, and so eventually they decided that the best thing to do would be to simply get comfortable down here. So they set up a little couch and relaxed. It really wasn't so bad down here, a bit cold perhaps. After some time had gone by, they installed a few shelves as well, and a sort of kitchenette that was useful for when the bucket was craving paninis. But it wasn't until the rugs and the standing lamps came in that it really started to feel like a home. In fact, after some time, Stanley realized that it had been ages since he had even thought of the mind control facility at all. He'd never gotten to fully explore what was up there, never been able to unearth the many mysteries of the mind control facility. This lack of closure began to eat at him. Soon he was dwelling on his regrets, and the state of their home slowly decayed as Stanley became withdrawn and neglected the cleaning. It unsettled the bucket deeply. Stanley wasn't usually like this. The bucket tried to reach out to him again and again, but to no avail. All Stanley could think about, all he could talk about, was going back, doing it over again, staying on the path. It was a mistake to leave the path. It was a mistake. It was a mistake. I need to do what the narrator says. I need to see the true ending. This made no sense at all to the bucket, which was simply trying to live its life down here as comfortably as possible. Yet Stanley was unconsolable. This isn't an ending. This is just a hole in the ground. The bucket sighed. True, it wasn't an ending. But it's where we happen to be. And maybe, possibly, if we accept the reality of things, maybe this will become an ending eventually. It's what the bucket was counting on. The two of them waited for a very long time.
Go up and down the elevator several times.
Whoops. Nope. Never mind. Stanley actually got back into the elevator and went back up. Silly me. Why did Stanley do that when he knew that it would just lead back to his boss's office? Well, that's a great question. I just can't wait to find out. Here we are, Stanley. It's your boss's office. Exactly the way it was before you got onto the elevator. It's still just exactly what it is. What a decision you've made to come up here and look at the office again. This has fleshed out the plot of the story in new and fascinating ways I could have never anticipated. It's that keen eye for storytelling that you have, an incisive rapid fire of critical plot points, one after the other, weaving a rich tapestry of uncompromising narrative. Wow! I'm bolted to the edge of my seat. Incredible. Now he's getting back into the elevator and going down again. Ladies and gentlemen, how does he keep coming up with all of this? Stanley will walk forward into the spooky corridor, won't he? Did you think we were going to go forward down the spooky corridor? No. It's time once again to go back up in the elevator. I can't even begin to grapple with what might be up there. Is it the boss's office again? Or what if it's the boss's office this time? The suspense is killing me. Oh my God, it's the boss's office. This absolutely changes everything for me. Give me a time out here for a minute while I process this. Okay, I'm ready. I'm prepared to embrace this stunning revelation and to move forward with... No, wait. No, I need more time to process. All right. I have fully come to terms with it. I have made space in my worldview for this astonishing new reality. As before, I turn to your expert eye for gripping narrative, Master Stanley. Of course, going back down in the elevator. How did I not anticipate it? I mean, sure, now it's obvious, but you have to understand that 30 seconds ago, this kind of thing had never been attempted before. I had no frame of reference to even anticipate it. That's just how revelatory Stanley's decision-making is, a breath of fresh air in a landscape of storytelling that has grown stale and repetitive. You know what? I've just thought of something. Hold on, let's stop for a moment. Don't you realize? It's the anticipation, Stanley. You and I, we have no way of knowing what will be at the top of this elevator. But the suspense, the agony of waiting and anticipating and having to guess, that's the real thrill. Oh, I simply don't want to let that feeling go. It's so precious, so fleeting. Why don't we take this elevator ride nice and slow? There we go. Isn't this so much more exciting? You know, Stanley, it seems like nowadays the only thing that audiences want is to be shocked as loudly and frequently as possible. They want big, explosive moments flung right in their faces from the very moment that things get started. But where's the tension? Where's the trust in the audience to build a slow and nuanced appreciation for the story, the characters? Why aren't we given time to imagine the surprises, to have to think and to anticipate, and then to marvel at the eventual reveal? This is storytelling, Stanley. What you and I are doing right now. This is the most exciting narrative to be developed in years, and it's really all because of you. You're the one who took this bold step of revisiting the exact same locations over and over. Truly, I mean it. This is unique and different. It's not like anything else out there. You see, I want stories that surprise me, Stanley. I want to have to think. I want to be engaged and not pandered to. We're being fed such unimaginative drivel all the time, and we all know it, which is why we're so starved for content that makes us feel sharp and vital and alive. That's why people like you so much, Stanley, because you're not afraid to spit in the face of tradition. You're a role model, you know? People look up to you. Which is why, oh, I didn't know when to spring this on you, but, well, I've gathered a little press conference for you, so that you can talk about your work and your storytelling and your life. Yes, I know you're not much for the public eye, but I thought it would especially mean a lot to the people who have been following you from the beginning. They really look up to you, Stanley. I don't know if you realize the impact you have on them. This is the kind of gesture that might leave a tremendous impact on them for the better. Oh good, we're here. Okay, the room where we're holding the press conference should be just around the corner here somewhere. Ah, yes, here it is, just through this door. All right, are you ready? I've told them you're going to speak a little bit about the nature of surprise in storytelling and what it means to craft a truly unpredictable narrative. Oh, don't worry, you'll do great. Just be yourself and speak from the heart. I'm really proud of you, Stanley. Okay, it looks like they're ready for you. Go get 'em.
now with the bucket.
Wait, Stanley said to the bucket. Can we go back up? When I was pressing those keypad buttons, there was something very intriguing about the number 3. I want to go back so I can try pressing the number 3 again. The bucket said nothing. Here we are, said Stanley. Now I'm going to try out that number 3 button. He took the bucket over to the keypad and began absolutely slamming on the number 3. Wow, he said. The number 3 is such a special button. I'm having the time of my life. Stanley looked expectantly at the bucket, but the bucket remained silent. This was a shock to Stanley, who had always felt such... After taking some time to show the bucket around the boss's office, Stanley at last went to the keypad, where he began eagerly pressing the number 3 again and again. Perhaps the bucket had missed something. Perhaps it had not seen how much joy Stanley got from slamming the number 3 repeatedly. No, said Stanley to the bucket. You can't go on yet, not till you understand how much the number 3 means to me. You and I have been through so much together, and I just want you to see what I see. Feel the happiness I feel. He smiled at the bucket, and the bucket said nothing. Here we go, said Stanley. This time I'll really show you. He ran to the number 3 and began to wail on it like a musician on a beloved instrument, weaving a concerto of truth and passion. He wielded the number 3 like a fine artist would wield a paintbrush. He told stories through the number 3, stories of his dreams and hopes and fears, and the whole time he looked to his bucket for a reaction of some kind. Anything to let him know that the bucket appreciated what he was doing. The bucket conveyed absolutely nothing at all, only silence. Crushed by a wave of dejection, Stanley returned to the elevator. Stanley and the bucket were so close. They'd always been there for one another. Why suddenly could the bucket not connect with this passion of Stanley's? The question caused Stanley to ruminate the whole way down the elevator. He knew that there must be a way to get through to the bucket, to communicate fully with his dear friend. Surely there was a solution, mustn't there be? Said Stanley. I know what to do. I know how to fully express this feeling in my heart. He decided right then and there that he would hold a press conference where he would speak to the public on all matters relating to pressing the number 3 over and over. He would elaborate fully on what the number 3 meant to him. and why he felt so alive when pressing it. Then the bucket would be able to see his joy through the eyes of others. It would get to see the world react to this discovery of Stanley's. And it would be through the public eye that the bucket would finally understand Stanley's work. For months, he advertised and marketed his press conference, building excitement around it, developing and rehearsing it, until it couldn't be refined a single measure further. When the big day arrived, Stanley was as prepared as he'd ever been for anything in his life. This was it. One last chance to win the bucket over. One opportunity to share a true connection with a loved one. There was no one here. Nobody had come to the press conference to hear Stanley speak, to listen to him talk about what it really means to press the number 3 on a keypad over and over. He was unloved, uninteresting, he was a failure, and in that moment Stanley knew that the bucket would never again take him seriously. There would be no connection, no deeper understanding. The bucket merely sat there in his arms, indifferent. And so it began that slowly, over many years, the two of them grew more and more distant. They spoke less and less, neither wishing to state the obvious, that any sense of real respect between them had eroded since that day at the press conference. There would be no more games, no more long conversations about passion and pursuit, only a silence that consumed the space between friends. And Stanley, having for once in his life discovered the warmth and comfort of true companionship, was cast back into the unremarkable normalcy of loneliness.
Okay, this one is only kind of debatably secret, but I'm including it anyway. Just jump into the hole over and over as it gets smaller and smaller.
A stunning leap forward for video games as a medium. You see, isn't it wonderful? One of my more ingenious concoctions, if I do say so. Now then, since you've gotten to see the infinite hole, you can press the teleport button to pop back up to the top, and we can continue onward. Now, I don't mean to be a bummer, but I do recommend you use the teleport button to go back to the top. Maybe do it on the sooner rather than later spectrum of things. Okay, Stanley, I don't know quite how to say this tactfully, but it's possible that I slightly exaggerated the infinite nature of the hole. Is it a very, very deep hole? To be certain it is. It's an extremely deep hole. I don't want anyone to say that it isn't an astonishingly deep hole. It is. Is it infinite? Well, that sort of depends on your definition of infinity. From one perspective, the infinite is merely philosophical in nature. It's more of a... Okay, well, good for you. You found the bottom of the hole. You found me out, Stanley. I'm a liar and a cheat, and you're so clever. Look, I think the issue here is just that you're unusually fascinated by falling. What normal person actually wants to fall infinitely? I figured the hole was as deep as anyone would actually need. Don't you put this on me. Maybe you're the problem. Look, things got a little heated there. I think we both said some things we didn't mean. Why don't we just put all this behind us and agree to just call the hole mostly infinite? If that works for you, then go ahead and press the teleport button to warp up to the top of the hole and we can move on. I'll just be up here when you're ready. Great. Now, I'm very excited to show you even more of my ideas for the sequel. Oh, for heaven... You see, I was right. The problem is you. The problem is that you like holes too much. Not normal. A normal person would have said, yep, that's an infinite hole right there, goes on forever till the end of time. Don't need to see it all, but not you. Oh, no, 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 no. You have a weird sort of... Oh. Did the hole seem even shorter to you this time? I couldn't help but feel like you spent a little less time in there than you did before. I mean, Admittedly, I didn't make an infinite hole, but I didn't think it was that not infinite. Well, I suppose once again there's nothing to do here. If you decide you've had enough of the hole, you can hit the teleport button and come join me up above. Had enough? I'm positively thrilled. Gosh, how could I have guessed? You're back in the hole. If this starts to become a thing where... Wow. Okay. Yes. I'm starting to become extremely certain that the hole is not only not infinite, but that it's growing steadily less and less infinite. I suspect that I'm starting to hit the point where it's no longer feasible to call the hole infinitely deep, even by the lax overall standards for accountability and marketing. What's going on here? Stanley, I have no explanation for the uncertain nature of the hole's length. Here, let's try something. Let's pop back up to the top, and we'll see if it gets any shorter. Well, there it is. The shame of my lie has come to haunt me. Not only is the hole not infinite, but it's barely even a hole at this point. It's more of a concavity, or even a very aggressive divot. How is this still appealing to you? I know you're obsessed with holes, but at this depth, I just can't see this scratching the itch. Oh, who am I to judge? You just do whatever it is you're here to do and hit the teleport button when you're ready to move on. Is the, teleport button not working? You sure? Well, I mean, I really don't have an explanation. It was working just a moment ago. Try it again. Still nothing? Well, I suppose there is one thing I can do to fix this. I'm out. Goodbye, Stanley. You couldn't bear to be away from the hole, and now you'll get more time with it than you could ever have asked for. It's a win for everyone. You get to be with the hole, I get to do literally anything else. Take care, Stanley. I hope you and the hole have a wonderful rest of eternity together. Stanley! Oh good, you're awake. It seems you had sort of dozed off there, drifting away into dreamland. But we can't have that, Stanley, because this hole is just so darn fascinating that I want you to be wide awake for every second of it. You don't want to miss a single moment. So how about if I just pop in from time to time and wake you up to keep you really truly focused on the hole? From the looks of things, you and I will have many, many years here in this hole, and I'm looking forward to all of them. Stay alert, Stanley. I'll be back. Toodlepip.
After unlocking the Stanley figurines, a ramp is added to the cargo area. In addition to the figurine, there is also a vent down here.
Stanley had now gotten himself so far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun. So far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun. So far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun. So far off the beaten path. You didn't think I was actually just a recording, did you? What a silly and trite explanation that would be. All the back and forth between you and me, all the absurd adventures we've been through, and it all turns out I'm just a tape recording? It was all just in Stanley's head. I bet that's the kind of twist you think is revelatory. I bet each and every time you watch a movie where it turns out all to be in the main character's imagination, you must absolutely bolt off the couch in pure shock at the phenomenal and intricate storytelling. It must be so simple to be you. Life being an unending waterfall of surprises and delights. How much more exciting you must find the world than the rest of us do. Now I've become sad. Look what you've done to me. This is all your fault.
And now at the bucket.
Okay, this is day number 295. Tape number... I don't even know. I've lost track. Nothing feels real anymore. The longer I study this bucket, the less sense anything makes. The sheer euphoria I feel every time I pick it up. No matter how many times I've done it, it's always the same feeling. And the emptiness in my chest when I set it down. It doesn't make sense. There's no explanation for it. I still haven't figured out why I see the world so differently when this bucket is in my arms. Why everything feels so... What do I do with this treasure? I can monetize it. Yes. It's unthinkable the amounts of money people will pay for even just an hour with the bucket. This is my golden ticket. But I have to be careful, because as soon as this gets out, there's going to be a target on my back. Even now, I don't know who might be trying to get... What's that? Who's there?
Personally, I don't think finding the Figleys is terribly difficult. After getting your second figure, you get hints in the meeting room if you need them. Pretty helpful hints too, but if you are truly stuck, here are their locations. The first one you get in the show floor, which unlocks the rest of the Figleys. One is past this wooden ramp in the cargo area. One is under the stairs to the boss's office, right before the Mariella ending. One is by the red and blue doors. Do note you can't bring a bucket here, or you get stopped early.
Incorrect. This is a bucket.
One is behind the fireplace in the boss's office. The last one is in the executive bathroom. After all that, you get your ending the next time you spawn. To unlock the epilogue, you need to restart the game multiple times, making sure to set the time correctly the first couple times. Keep restarting until this moment, where the setting guy says they'll see you again. You also need to get all the Stanley figurines and see the associated ending. After that, you can view the epilogue from the main menu. Most of the achievements are carried over from the first game, although Go Outside has been upgraded to 10 years, here is how you get the completely new ones. Get any other achievement. During the new content, we find this machine. It initially doesn't work, but if you complete the epilogue, it gets fixed. Now all you have to do is return to the machine.
You see, you'll come to this lever, and when you pull it, the achievement will be given to you. It's as simple as that. As you can see, the machine is not working yet since... What? Wait, what in the holy hell is going on? You got the achievement? Why did the machine work? Stanley, I didn't fix it. I didn't do anything to it. I swear, it was broken just a second ago. Who fixed it? Is someone here? Are we being watched? Oh, God. Composure, composure.
Change the setting sliders to every possible value. Now these sliders will skip numbers if you hold down the buttons for too long, so be careful and be thorough. Make sure to go through the sub options as well. Also, I think I had to change the languages too, or like other settings, I'm not 100% sure, just keep changing whatever you can. Also, after getting the achievement, this room is open.
Aha! I can see you've gotten the Settings World Champion achievement. Well done. You've experienced every setting, traveled to all corners of the settings menu. There's nothing you haven't seen. So, just for you, in the Stanley Parable 2, I'm including an entirely new setting, something called bumpscosity. What exactly is bumpscosity? Well, I haven't quite figured that part out yet, but I just know that you'll be able to adjust it on some sort of slider, and that it'll be available from the settings menu. We'll sort the rest of the details out later. I hope you're looking forward to trying out every level of bumpscosity in the Stanley Parable 2.
If you take the bucket into the escape pod, the bucket will reappear in the escape pod in the epilogue. Now you have your bucket for the rest of the epilogue, as you should. After the epilogue, you can bring a bucket from the office to the bucket exhibition.
Wait, there are 2 buckets here? How did you get a second bucket? Oh no, the warmth and comfort of a single bucket is already so great, so intoxicatingly wonderful. With 2 buckets, there's no telling. Stanley, can you still hear me? Are you with me? Stanley! Oh, thank God, I didn't lose you. Stanley, the power of 2 buckets was too much. I had to destroy both of them. I know how much the bucket meant to you, but I couldn't take the risk. I hope one day you can forgive me.
In the epilogue, you find a bunch of name buttons. Most of them say Jim, except for one.
Jim. Stanley. Stanley.
After the epilogue, the title screen is incremented by 1 each time you reset. When you get to the Stanley Parable 8, this happens.
Hold on. What's this?
8. 8. 8. 8.
The Stanley
8.
Parable 8?
8.
No.
8.
This doesn't look right at all.
8.
The Stanley Parable
8.
takes place in an
8.
office building. There are
8.
doors and branching
8.
paths. This is
8.
just a button that says
8.
8. Where did the
8.
Stanley Parable go?
8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8.
Well, I'm looking around and I really can't find the game anywhere. No boss's office or mind control facility or any of that. Literally just this 8 button. And what's worse is that you seem to be having a better time with this nonsense game than with the story I wrote for you. I'm actually a little insulted.
8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8.
Well, I don't know what happened to the Stanley Parable or what the 8 button is, but apparently you're having a riveting time with it. And frankly, I don't even want to pander to someone who finds this enjoyable. So with that, I guess just go ahead and enjoy the Stanley Parable 8.
8. 8. 8.
This one requires setup. First, make sure to save your jumps, because if you reset the game while in the jump circle, you can jump outside of it. Do this in the showroom after unlocking the Figley with the changes that entails. Head into the vent, head over here, and jump over the boxes.
Begun from so far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun from so far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun from so far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun from so far off the beaten path.
In the original, there was a handful of calls on the phone you can get. There is a new one you can get if you answer the phone while holding the bucket.
Hey Stanley, it's me. Just calling to let you know that you left your bucket at home. Silly. It's okay, I'm off to pick up groceries soon, so I could swing by your work and drop the bucket off at... Oh, wait a minute. This isn't your bucket? Wait, whose bucket is this? Well, if it doesn't belong to anyone else, I guess I could just, keep it. Yeah, I'd really like to hang out with this bucket for a while. Oh, sorry, what was I saying? Oh yeah, have a nice day at work. I'll be here at home with my bucket. Bye, Stanley.
After unplugging the phone and taking the cargo lift back down, you can crouch under the sign and explore the bottom of the cargo bay. Entering this void, you can hear some sort of angelic music. If you're wondering, this is not a thing in the original game. In the lead up to the sequel expo, you can find this computer. This is a reference to a mobile game also made by Crows. Apparently there's a QR code at the merchandise table that goes to StanleyParable2.com, which also has an embed of a whole 10-minute video with the narrator.
We'll get to you yet, Time Dracula.
My Switch version just has a picture of t-shirts. In the Switch version, the painting of this room now has hands that look like Mario's. Woohoo! Mario's got a capo, motherfucker! I couldn't catch them on camera myself, so instead here's an article explaining the whole thing, link in the description. Okay, this one is actually in the original Stanley Parable, I just missed it in the last video. In the cargo bay, you can see these dots on one of the walls. These dots were a recurring element in the beginner's guide, debuting the next game after the Stanley Parable. Now let's talk about the papers. Here are the interesting ones I found while walking around. People have of course ripped the texture files, so if you want to see more papers in an easier to read way, you can check that out, link in the description. If you make the cat and dog friends here, there is a hidden paper in the epilogue. I feel compelled to ask how they poop. If you don't make them friends, you get this paper instead. There's this paper under the door in the vent ending. Groceries. Water, beer, pickles, new markers because someone keeps stealing mine for phone doodles. Olives. And then there's this sketch of a topless knight. Man, she looks tired. There's this paper from a Winnie the Pooh book. Check this out, public domain, baby! Help, help! The striped savage is tearing off my arm! Ow! Beware the referee of pain. I'm confused! Ink is printer blood. That means every time you print a document, it is written in blood. Think on that. Printing is a blood sport. Vegans shouldn't print. Printers are alive. The day of ink, it is known in the annals, for scarcely has a day seen so much wanton ink shed. A baleful sun rose upon the printer camps when at once 2,000 photocopier cavalry emerged from the mists. The printers had believed them still a week away, and yet here they were, with fury in their hearts. The heavy cavalry was followed by 10,000 foot copiers. It is said that the fields were multicolored with ink for years after that day of horror. To this day, some locals report hearing ghastly sounds of printer errors upon the old battlefield. I'm a messenger from the printer. Hello! Printers get a lot of stick for not being as simple as they were in the early 90s. They get a lot of hate for refusing to print when only one of the ink cartridges is empty. You think that's their call? They didn't design themselves. Educate yourself before you cast shade.
500 tons of raw copying power!
Yeah, these are a bit hard to read. Looking at the textures, these are script pages for the hidden phone calls. The Future Happiness Foundation prides itself on customer service, and that is carried in the voice of the caller. This is a voice geared towards customer service. With every word spoken, the customer is put at ease. The gaiety of the caller could ease the worries of even the most anxious or angry customers. It is simply a delight to receive a call from the Future Happiness Foundation. Indeed, any customer awaiting our call can be sure of their future happiness. Stanley's wife must sound like the perfect wife for a simple man. Cute, flirtatious, all sugar and honey. The kind of woman a man like Stanley would spend all day thinking about, yearning to return to her embrace.
Hi, Stanley. Just wanted to leave you a message to let you know there's a few things I need you to pick up on your way home from work today.
Natural, she is thinking of the items off the top of her head.
We need milk, cereal, dish soap, spaghetti, get a thing of sugar, some bread, and coffee beans, whichever ones you like. I'll give you a call if there's anything I forgot.
And now the sign-off, delivered in such a way to make Stanley positively weak at the knees with anticipation.
Thanks, sweetie. See you tonight.
This is a simulation of a pre-recorded message, speaking in a friendly female voice designed to put the recipient at ease. The similarity in voice to Stanley's wife will cause Stanley to become more receptive to the important instructions coming through the speaker. Now for the papers in the Sequel Expo. This paper is a reference to the Bill Withers song.
Just the two of us.
This appears to be a drawing of a humanized narrator. This is the Wikipedia page for the number 2. Crab, the ultimate sequel. Testing 2 printers at the same time. Board members, please note that you must use the following terms as often as possible. Synergy, no one but us actually knows what it means. It adds to our prestige. Incentivize, this refers to the metaphorical whip which provides the incentive. Unpack refers to looking for meaning in a big pile of rubbish. Ping, send a message, childlike onomatopoeia which probably makes us sound cute. Deep dive, discuss in depth, makes a tedious meeting sound like more of an undersea adventure. We do not call, we do not email, we reach out. No one can complain if we are simply reaching out, like a friend, like a lover. Let's end this video by talking about one last thing I left off the last video, Employee 432. Now this is not a lore video, so here's a recitation of notable references to Employee 432. First, there's Employee 432's desk with just their pencil sharpener. There's a paper that's a sketch of Employee 432's pencil sharpener. In the mind control facility, there's a handful of interesting papers. Employee Observation Protocol. 1A. If an employee begins exhibiting unscheduled emotions, immediately contact supervisor. Please note that Employee 432 is a test case. Procedure 1A need not apply. 2A. If an employee attempts to leave the office via any non-scheduled means, e.g. window, vehicle, unsafe doors, set employee status to default and then back to their previous mode. If attempts to leave persist, contact supervisor. 2B. If, despite adherence to Protocol 2A, an employee somehow manages to leave the office during work hours, you must initiate lockdown procedure for that section immediately and without delay. This will create a temporary loop in system architecture that must then be closed by your immediate supervisor. 2C. If, despite adherence to Protocol 2A and 2B, an employee leaves the office during work hours and the system loop has failed, you must terminate. 2D. Please note that Employee 432 is a test case. While the need for Protocol 2A may seem unlikely, Procedure 2A to 2C need not apply. In the event of 432 attempting to leave the office, contact supervisor and then contact 432 prize pool. 3A. If a monitor screen fails to initialize, contact maintenance and temporarily switch control over to desk screen. If a monitor screen fails to initialize, contact maintenance and temporarily switch control over to desk screen. 4A. In the case of a Class 4 event, close system gates and consult with supervisor. 4B. In the case of a Class 3 event, close system gates and consult with supervisor. Prime your consoles for info dump. In the case of a Class 2 event, open system gates and move to designated safety platform. Gas masks will be made available. Prep for system wipe. 4D. In the case of a Class 1 event, system wipe is pointless. Escape corridor will open. This one is hidden behind some other papers. Looking at the texture, 002, demote, 003, promote, 004, swap offices with 400, 166, double memos, 400, swap offices with 004, 122, got lost in the past week, reinduction procedure authorized, 123, showing concern for employee 122, check with system marker to see if scheduled. 180, spring and step, lower happiness values, check with R&D to see if this is caused by content patch. 201, promote, 202, demote, 203, demote, 204, demote, 205, promote and demote, 206, demote. 347, tether disconnected, send HR. 402, messy papers, office relocation procedure authorized. 432, showing signs of non-compliance, do not adjust empathy values, HR is running another prize pool. In this room, there's a performance review for 432. I hate him! Absurd, commonplace, heretical, terrible at his job, knows nothing about where he is employed or what he is supposed to be doing, questions authority at every turn, and is unpleasant to be around. He continues to ask stupid questions like, where am I, and how do I get out of here, is unhelpful when performing typical tasks, and even when presented with the basis of tasks, he simply questions it. Incredibly insignificant and pedantic. Unorthodox and continues to attempt to think outside the box. I hate him! Following the adventure line strictly, you can find this impossible hallway. The hallway apparently for employee 432 peer reviews. Like, a lot of peer reviews. Through this window, there's a whole pile of pencil sharpeners on top of like a table labeled 432. On the whiteboard, there's a meeting planned about what to do about 432, but don't tell him about it. And last, here is the employee 432 paper added for Ultra Deluxe. Employee 432 observation report. Day 3208, asked for pencil, pencil not provided. Day 3209, asked for pencil, pencil not provided. Day 3210, began to speak rapidly, somewhat incoherently. I must keep the wheel turning, it must go forever. Repeated variants on these phrases for several hours. Day 3211, continued speaking as before. Day 3212, employee is missing, cannot be located, search effort underway. Day 3212, still unable to locate employee. So that was every new secret I could find in Ultra Deluxe. If there was any I missed, drop a comment, otherwise, goodbye.